Okay, guys, let's try that again.
3 seconds delay.
Thank you very much. So let me try that introduction again. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is round number 6. Yeah, sorry, Daniel. Listen, this is a bit of a hectic one. I hear that Ashley is saying that we have 10 seconds left. Then they are going to be starting their outlap. So the guys are rolling in the background. But what we have done is that we have changed the formation lap, so at least that they do get a full lap in, which allows me just a little bit more time to settle myself, get the right cameras together before we actually go racing. So that is the one I'm looking for. We're able to now join as a spectator. And that is now loading. So guys, we will catch up with you a little bit later on this evening. But as mentioned, apologies. Unfortunately, missing our first Bravo tier. We did have a little bit of an auto update that happened there. So those guys had to restart their qualifying, restart their race. So apologies to everybody there. I'm hoping that you send me that final result so we can get those points updated. But as you can see currently, the guys are approaching sunset and definitely one of the crowd favorites. We are currently driving around a Kyalami. We see Rainmaster, he managed to put his Honda on pole with Jacques Racing in third place, Morris in second place, Morris in third. We then got Connor in fourth place, then Ashley fifth, Duppy sixth, Greg seventh, Flip Pansel in eighth, then it is Brett from Australia, he's in 10th place, Memo in 11th, and then Jason now down in 12th place. So apology guys for getting the stream up later than normal. As mentioned before, load shedding was an issue and unfortunately was having some battles with the generator, but we are in the process of getting that resolved. Well, that looked like Connor went a little bit wide there, getting those tires warmed up. So as we get 12 drivers starting to approach the dreaded Cheetah turn number 15, there's a massive sausage curb in the inside there. Actually, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I am picking up my sound coming through on your screen. I'm not sure if you're able to mute me there. So as the field come through turn number 16, they are in a double file waiting for the green lights. That is the green lights, and we are now officially racing round number 6 in this reduced championship. And Paul has got a great start, but not only Paul, but we've got Jacques Racing just moving to the inside, just cutting off the nose of Morris just a little bit there. But all through, that's Connor, he's managed to get on the inside as they head up through Yuxke, now up through a barbecue turn number 5, and Morris was able to hold that inside line, and Ashley putting a lot of pressure on the rear of, as the, don't know why the positions are changing as they are. I thought that there were some places being lost. But it does seem like everybody is safely through. Okay, was a little bit confused there because I was trying to change the cameras, but it wasn't changing directly. But Paul out in front with his Honda. He's now opening a little bit of gap between himself and his teammate Jacques Racing, with Marius for the Green Mumbers. He's down in third. Cameraman Tim getting that camera work very, very wrong there. And it does seem like Ashley putting a lot of pressure on the back of Connor still. Ashley in his GTR looking for a way to put some pressure on the youngster and hopefully move himself up the order. Then we've got Greg from Some Stuff Racing. He's in fifth place, looking for an opportunity to get his GTR in front of, his Lexus in front of the GTR in front of him. And in the background there, I think that was a Flip on the side. Oh, it looks like Flipper's had an off, so he's going into the pits now. I'm sure he'll get that damage repaired, as well as get that mandatory pit stop out of the way. So jump back to the front, and Jacques Racing, he's now taken the lead. It looks like Paul Rainmaster down in 9th place. Did not see any incident happen there, so not sure why he's so far down the order when he was up in first. But here he goes side by side. And that was a very, very brave move there by Memo, going around the outside of him through Sunset. So we jump to the battle for first, second and third, and Jacques Racing starting to open a little bit of gap between the likes of Marius and Connor. 1.8 seconds is the distance between Marius and Jacques. And we see that both Jason and Flip have gone into the pits. They have done that mandatory pit stop. And it looks like Greg, he's now decided to go into the pits, possibly feeling that he might be being slowed down by Brett, our Australian international. And it does seem like Connor is able to close up onto the back of Marius in that Honda. So these two will go through Sunset, and what a great corner that is. As they now go into the clubhouse, that's turn number 7. So I see that Paul's now decided this is the time for him to go into the pits. So to those who have just joined us, apologies for the late start. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, that we did have some load shedding here at our SARCO head office, and we had some troubles getting the generator started, so we did do some troubleshooting with Craig from CT Auto Electrical, and we will get that sorted within the next couple of days so that we do not miss any of the racing. So if there are any of the Bravo tier guys that are watching, if you don't mind just jumping to the Discord, let us know how that race went. We would love to hear that. So just jumping back down to Duppy in 6th place. He's been able to close up that gap between himself and Brett. And there's Memo in the background in that Lexus. So he too is in the fight here for 5th, 6th and 7th place. So I wouldn't discredit that Lexus just yet. But it does seem like this is the Honda's track. So Jacques Racing is starting to open up a 3.3 gap between himself and the 2nd place and I'm pretty sure in the next couple of laps O'Connor is going to be right on the back of Morris for the Green Mambas. So we will be seeing whether Morris is able to keep him at bay. So there's a shot of the race leader coming down the mine shaft. Then hard into the brakes here at the Crocodiles. And it is such a tricky corner that you want to carry a lot more speed there, but that corner just seems to tighten up on you for a very long time. And as Jacques exits out of Ingwe, he will begin his fourth lap of the race here this evening. So of the drivers who have gone into the pits, we do see that Jason is the fastest of the pitted drivers. We did see him doing very well early on in the season, but he has just struggled as the season's gone on. That gap between third and second place is starting to close up. 0.4 of a second. So I'm pretty sure that Marius is watching those rearview mirrors, trying to see where O'Connor is gaining up on him. Is he able to defend that line? But every lap, Connor is just getting closer and closer. We then jump to the battle here between Duppy and Brett. And there's Duppy, Brett, Memo, then Pete. So these four drivers doing extremely well, fighting each other, keeping within that striking distance. And it's all going to come down to at what point do they go and take their pits. I see Connor's decided to go into the pits also a little bit early in terms of a strategy, but is that because he was feeling that he might be catching up to Marius too quickly, might not have been able to find an opportunity to overtake him. So that was a very, very quick pit stop. That was how you need to do it. Where is Jason? So Jason's only coming through the cheetah now, so he will go through Ingwe the last corner. And as you see, there goes Connor out of the pit. So it is a very short pit stop and a very short pit lane. So just about half a straight there. That distance between the Kink and Crowthorne is the distance between Connor and Jason. So you can see 13 seconds there is the distance. And Memo, whoa, having a look on the inside. So that was extremely close. But now Memo closing up on Duppy, and Duppy is still within half a second of Brett in front of him. So Memo, our Greek international, running a little bit wide, coming out of the S's. So you can just see how that's just disrupted some of that momentum. As we have Brett and Duppy going through turn number 12, the mine shaft, then onto hard on the brakes at the Crocodile. And what happens is that car just squirms on the brakes. You've got to have that set up nice and stable, and you want to have a nice stiff set up. As Memo was able to go around the outside of Duppy. Duppy making a little mistake. He ran wide going through Cheetah, and that's now allowed Memo to move himself up into 5th place. But Duppy fighting hard with that Honda, so Duppy will now put himself on the inside into turn number 2. So Dupi has been able to take that place back from Memoir Greek International. But Memo is not giving up just yet. Side by side through a sunset. Memo on the outside. He managed to get the faster line. Dupi comes onto the brakes and slows down to let Memo through. Absolutely a great little battle. And I'm pretty sure that Brett out in front is watching this, saying, gentlemen, battle all you want, because that's just allowing me to get away from you, and I don't have to deal with any of that nonsense. So do just want to jump onto our race leader. So that is Jacques Racing out in first. 6.5 seconds is the gap that he has between himself and Marius. Then there's Marius in second place. We just got a glimpse of Jacques Racing driving out of the picture. Ashley coming around Ingwe, he's down in third place. Brett, he's leading this little battle between Brett, Memo, and then Dupi. So these guys are going to be fighting, I'm pretty sure, for the rest of the race. And in the background there is Connor. So Connor is starting to gain up on the guys ahead of him. So that gap between Jason and Connor, that was 13 seconds when they came out. So Jason has been able to find 5 seconds through the race. So that's, I'm sure he's very happy with that. I'm not sure whether Connor will be happy as we get Connor going towards turn number 7. Just have a look at that battle up ahead. That is Brett, Memo, and Dupi. So Memo trying the wider line up at Leeuwkop and getting as close as he can, get into a tow as they go flying flat out through the mineshaft at just over 230 kilometers an hour. Then onto the brakes, down into second gear, let the car rotate, get the power on as quickly as you can. Then it's a quick little gear shift down. Oh, Memo takes a little bit of that inside curb, and that's now put Dupi right behind, so he's now back in the action. So 30 minutes left of the race. And there goes Brett, Memo, Dupi, then Connor. So he has been closing up on this group pretty rapidly now. And I see the gap between Morris and Jacques is still at 6.5 seconds. So it hasn't really improved. So just having a look at Jason closing up on the battle that is happening ahead of him, 7.6 seconds. So Jason is definitely catching up to Connor. But now the question is, will these three guys allow Connor to go through? Or are they going to be fighting him for position? Someone's gone off. And that, unfortunately, that was Memo getting a little bit wrong going into the S's, which now releases Connor up a position. So Connor now goes up into the 6th position. Memo's going to have to put his head down. The race is not over, but to try and close down up onto the 3 drivers ahead of him, understanding that Connor has already pitted. So this is not a race that Memo will be able to win with these guys. So Connor must just be patient. This is not places to be overtaking. Is a little snap of the rear there for the youngster. So Duppy trying to close up on Brett now that Memo has removed himself from the middle of that battle. But I am still seeing Memo in the background there. 2.2 seconds is the distance between Memo and Connor. So this is part of the challenge if you do go into the pits too early. Is that you get yourself out of position, and it looked like Connor outbraked himself. So there he is in the background there, rejoining the track. So that's definitely going to hurt him, because look at that gap between Jason and Connor now, 5.2 seconds, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be even closer once the guys go through the next sector. And that was Greg in the background. 1.5 seconds behind Jason, so he's actually not out of this race either for some stuff racing. So there's the new gap, 3 seconds between Connor and Jason. So now Connor's going to have a Memo to deal with, but Memo runs a little bit wide, just touching that curb. It allows Connor the space to go around him on the outside. But now it is Duppy up against the Australian international. That is Brett, a part of the Eleanor development team. What I did notice there was Duppy stays very close to that inside curb, going up through turn number 3, and then just on the Yixgay sweep, where he should actually be more middle of the track, because that allows him to be a little bit wider into turn 5 and get a nice late entry and get that power on. Oh, Memo, big snap of the rear there as he got the power on. And now Jason 1.3 seconds behind Memo. So he's now within a striking distance. There's Connor, the highest of the drivers that have pitted. And it is now getting extremely congested in the middle here. Just look how close Brett, Duppy and Connor are. Cameraman Tim wasn't ready for me to cross over to him. So we have seen Connor make just a few little mistakes, just trying to force the matter to try and get around these guys who are effectively still racing for position. But look at that, that is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th place. Connor having a very late lunge into turn number 2, and it looks like a Duppy has seen him, but now Duppy's going to be on the inside, so Connor will have to just tuck up in behind him. So Connor now having a look on the inside through the Sunrise, and that is Memo taking the inside. So Connor able to move up that position, and now Jason going to the inside of Memo, going through Clubhouse, but are not able to make that move stick. But these guys are now effectively fighting through the pack. And Brett in the front there, just wanting to get away. And is that Greg now looking to go around the outside? So Memo runs a little bit wide, which now releases Jason in front of him. In through the mine shaft now, they'll go hard onto the brakes. And we still haven't seen our top three going to the pits just yet. So that is the Sim Stuff Racing driver. That is Greg Yanaman. Now Connor having a look to the inside into turn number 2, and Brett goes wide, sees that he's coming through. Connor just allows enough space on the outside there, so that is now released Connor out up into 4th place. But now the question is, where is Jason going to be able to make that move around Brett? We have seen that these guys have been racing fair, but they've also been hanging on to these positions. We are approaching the halfway mark, and there it is.
We are halfway through, keep pushing.
25 minutes have passed, 25 minutes still to go. So guys, just let us know, what do you think of the racing so far? Just let us know. It is so close, and I'm pretty sure we'll start seeing some of those pits come through. And as I mentioned that, I see that Jacques, he's gone into the pits, so that also looked like it was quite a quick one. So Connor is the highest of the pit stops, and you can see that he's now only approaching the crocodiles, while Jacques is now exiting out of the pits. Ashley, he's now gone into the pits. So Connor now approaching Ingwe. Where is Ashley? Has he stopped yet? So out of Ingwe goes Connor. So there's the confirmation, and Ashley is taking a little bit longer in the pits there. So you can see him dropping down the order. And we see that Brett has now decided now is the time for him to take the pit. So that is extremely interesting. Ashley was circulating in 3rd place. Now after the pits, after the guys have done their pits, you can see there's Jacques, Connor, Greg, Jason, Memo, and Ashley. So 5 drivers ahead of 4 drivers have pitted already who are ahead of him. So I did not expect that. But now I see that Greg has been able to get himself ahead of Jason. And Memo on the background there, just kicking off some dirt. So that's a driver we haven't been checking in on. And that is Paul, the Rainmaster, coming out through a sunset. We saw that he had put himself on pole, was out in front, and next we saw him dropping down into 9th place. He went into the pits and has just not been able to get this race together. So jumping back to our 5th place driver, Jason, will he be able to get himself on that podium? We did see him closing up on Connor, who's now effectively is in 3rd place. The question is, Marius, who is our current race leader, when does he go in, and how quick is he able to go, and where does he slot in once he rejoins the race? So we've got Memo in the pits now, so he will fall behind Memo. Here comes Duppy, then it's Brett, then it's Pete. Pete approaching Cheetah. So Memo still in the pits, he hasn't moved, so there he moves. It all depends now if he's able to get up to speed. So there comes a Memo out the pits. It's going to be very close between Memo and Pete. But it does sound like the Honda has been able to get ahead of them. There we saw that confirmation. So there's Memo down in 10th position. So I am getting the sense that while Jason was catching up to the back of Connor, this little stint has definitely not helped him. You can see it does seem like he's just losing a little bit of pace, falling off the back of Greg, who's currently in 4th, and I'm sure he is extremely happy with this current performance. Lock up there from Paul. We saw the front wheel just locking up ever so slightly as the weight transferred from the front of the car, and as he turns in, it just releases some of the grip on the inside wheel. So Greg is doing extremely well. That gap now 1.5 seconds. So he is definitely gaining up on the Honda in front of him. And Marius decides now, this is when he comes into the pits. We can just watch the map on the bottom right hand corner. So Marius is moving. So that was a really good pit stop there for him, and he's right there on the exit, so he'll be able to get up to speed straight away. So Marius will come out in 2nd place. And Greg now halved. He has halved the time. Yes, that's right. He has halved the time that it was 1.5 seconds the gap. Now it's just gone to 0.8. Approaching one of my favorite corners, Sunset. Just love the way you're able to just tap the brakes, get that nose down, find the grip, just ease the car into the corner, and once it's settled, you just get onto that power and give it full gas through there. It is such a great feeling, just being able to hang on to that grip. So it does look like Greg has made just a few little errors, but I say errors just in the points of 0.1 or 0.2 of a second is that error, because that gap was 0.8. It is now up to a 1.2, and Jason staying around that 3.6 mark. So after all the pits have happened, we did see that Duppy was behind Brett as they started going through the pit stops. And post the pit stops, Duppy is up into 7th place. He is ahead of Brett from the Eleanor development team. So once again, Greg starting to put a little bit of pressure on the back of Connor. You can see that it does seem like Greg is able to make the car work for him in the latter part of the lap. where here through the twisty bits, it does seem like the Honda is a little bit more stable, is able to get that grip down, but definitely in the latter parts, that's where Greg is making up that time. But we have, however, seen that passing is one thing, specific on this track. It is quite tricky. You've got to be able to just force the error. As Greg gets a great drive coming out of the S's, it looks like he might go to the outside up at Leerkop. He instead dives to the inside. Oh, a little too much speed there. Is not able to brake and get that car turned in. So he does unfortunately have to regroup once again. But that was a valiant effort there by Greg. He managed to get that car on the inside, but just not able to get it stopped in time. So 12 minutes and some change left of this round number 6. We do have one more round that's coming up next week Thursday, and that we head off to the Bathurst Mount Panorama circuit as the finale. That is going to be an absolute crack of a battle there. So out in front, your race leader, Jacques Racing, has had a great race. So back to the battle for 3rd and 4th place, and Jason 3.5 seconds behind, currently in 5th. So just catching up with a flip and sail down in 12th position. We did see that his car had sustained some damage very early on in the race, and just ahead of him we have Memo. So Memo, part of that battle between Pete, Brett and Duppy. And you can see it's probably just in about 20 seconds is the total gap between Memo and Duppy now. So 22 seconds, so my estimate wasn't too far off. But now I honestly thought that Greg would be able to regroup and start closing up on Connor, but he just hasn't been able to do so. And it does seem that Jason is now closing up. He made a 0.4 of a second that lap between himself and Greg. So Jason now finding another 0.4 on Greg. So to say that this race between the podium sitters is done is definitely not true. Just a wonder in the last 10 minutes, so we will have about 6 laps left to go. Will the tyres on that Honda go off? Does it allow the Lexus to start gaining up on him? So I'm definitely seeing now that is in the latter parts of the lap. That is where Greg is able to close up on Connor ahead of him. So Paul, the Rainmaster, in 9th place. He has not been able to close up the gap on Brett in front of him. And it does look like there's some rear front damage on that Honda of his. You can see as the time progression ticks on, the circuit is starting to get darker. The sun is now going down, and Greg has been able to find 0.4 of a second through the last sector. So is this a last battle? 7 minutes left. Jason still struggling to close up on the back of Greg. So Paul is closing up on Brett now. You can see 3 seconds is the gap there. And then it is through the front part of the track. You can see that gap, 1.9 seconds between Greg and Connor. So 1.9, but it's here where Greg is able to start closing up. So Greg finds 0.4 of a second, and you can just see from the second sector into that third sector, and starting to pull away a little bit from Jason in 5th position. Our race leader crosses the line. He's on his 22nd lap, and Marius down in 2nd place. I'll say down. He did start off in 3rd, so he is actually up into 2nd place with Connor in 3rd. And again, just being able to extend a little bit of a lead between himself and Greg. 2.1 seconds. It's once they go into the twisty bits, that's where the Honda comes into its own. And then at the latter parts of the race, it is definitely all Lexus. Able to close up on his development teammate. Ooh, my chair just collapsed. That was a weird feeling. So just under 5 minutes left to go. See the slight movement of the bonnet of that car. Paul are now within a second of Brett in front of him, who's in 8th place. Back to the podium sitters, third and fourth. 1.6 seconds is that gap now between Greg and Connor. But now Greg runs a little bit wide into turn number 2, so that's going to definitely create a bit more time that he's going to need to gather up. He didn't quite get that turn in right, I think pushing a little bit too hard, so that's going to lose him some time, that's for sure. And there's a confirmation, 2.8 seconds, so that's just 1.2 seconds is what that mistake cost him. So down into turn number 2. You can see our Paul getting right behind the back of Brett. Now up into barbecue, definitely one of my favorite corners. But then that Honda is a little bit wild. Looked like he might have lost the rear and snapped him into the wall, but is able to get away with that. So Brett now leads this battle for 8th and 9th place through sunset. So in shot is Morris, currently in 2nd place, 14 seconds behind the race leader. He has had a quiet race in 2nd so far. He did have Ashley chasing him in the first part of the race, but then after the pit stops were concluded, Ashley did drop down into 6th. And it does seem like at the current rate that Connor is going to be able to hang on to this podium for a 3rd place, because Greg, while he was able to fight earlier on, that gap is now starting to stretch itself a little bit. And as I said that, just looking at the time, is Jason's been able to close up on the back of Greg, because that's 2.3 seconds is the gap there.
The leader's on final lap now.
So we've got the confirmation that we have Jacques racing on his final lap. Just going to jump back down to Paul and Brett. Paul looked like he just wasn't able to get that power down quick enough to put some pressure on Brett going down the mine shaft towards my not so favorite corner. Reason being is that cars on the brakes at the crocodiles is always falling away from you. So there is our race leader. He is now coming through Cheetah, and that is 11th place. That is Memo. No, that is Pete. Apologies, the 777. So Jacques Racing will now cross the line. Come home in 1st place. That is Morris in 2nd. Then I must say a great drive here by Connor. Got himself into a little bit of traffic, and I'll say a great drive for him. But that is Jason is ahead of him. It looks like Connor might have run out of fuel here. because Connor is coming to a stop right at the entry for the cheetah. That's not a very good place to stop. So that's the confirmation that Jason, he finishes in third. Connor retired to the pits having not crossed the line. Ashley in fifth place. So talk about an absolute disaster. Connor will not be counted here. So Ashley effectively, he will get fourth place. And you can see Connor now dropping down the order. So there's Duppy in sixth. So Connor missed it by a couple of hundred of meters. So Duppy in fifth place. We're then going to have the battle between Brett Rainmaster and Sly Pete. Sly Pete's also in the pits. And that's it. Memor in the pits as well. So he would actually come home in eighth place. Ahead of Connor and Pete, because they have not crossed the start finish line, so that means that they have not been counted as completing the race. Talk about a change of events.
In the oven.
Okay, well done guys. Top 3 please go into the Discord chat with Dylan.
My electricity is gonna go off now.
Use your cell phone.
I don't really have a reception here when that happens.
Okay.
Green light, go, go, go.
Hey, Jock was way too fast for me tonight.
What happened to Connor and those 2 other guys in front? Okay.
Dumpy, thank you very Dumpy, that was good fun.
Right guys, we're just waiting for our podium winners to join us, and can you believe it that Jason comes home in third place, Marius is in second, and Jacques Racing win by 15.5 seconds, and that's because Connor ran out of fuel coming towards Cheetah, pulled off the track with not being able to cross the start finish line. So a retirement due to running out of fuel. I don't think that's the way he would have expected to have finished this race this evening. Guys, we do have Jacques Racing with us. We do believe that Morris, he won't be able to join us for the interviews, as his power is unfortunately going to be going off shortly, and he did say that when that happens he doesn't have any signal. We are just trying to see if we can't get Jason into the chat with us. So if not, it looks like Jacques, this is your interview.
like your mic is on mute.
There we go.
There you go.
Cool.
Okay.
So
There's Morris.
here comes Morris. How's it, Morris?
Hello guys.
How's it? How's it?
Yes, you know, Jock was just way too fast tonight. Right from the start, I saw he just pulled away. I just couldn't get that feeling. So he nailed it, man. It was a pity about. Yes, I saw when I around the second last corner. I think I saw out of the corner of my eye that Paul must have hit the curb there or something because he was off. But after that, Jock basically just started cruising away from me. And I got held up here and there. I thought I could make up a little bit of time before the pit stops, but I got held up just a little bit with back marker. So I lost a couple of seconds there on the last lap before my pits, but that would not have helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 80, he gave me big pressure there in the beginning. He was on my back for quite a long time, and I don't know what happened. I think he ducked into the pits to get out from behind me.
He did.
But then I tried, to do good laps. It didn't help though, but but something must have happened with 80. I don't know what, but he lost time somewhere.
Yeah, it did look like. So what was happening is that he was actually battling in the mid pack with some other drivers. Memo, Duppy and Brett were having an almighty battle. So that was kind of where he lost his way, because they were within a second of each other having a fight there. And then he had Greg that was basically chasing him up. So it was just lots and lots of pressure throughout that race. And then unfortunately he didn't finish because he ran out of fuel approaching the cheetah on the last lap.
Whoa, how unlucky is that? He pulled the jakes on himself.
He jakes it, exactly. Let's go to you, Jacques. Paul was quicker than you in the qualifying, and it looked like that the Hondas were really, really strong this evening, but you managed to just hang on there and just get your head down and bring it home for the win.
Yeah, no, it was firstly the qualifying. Paul just, dominated. I don't know where that time came from. I've never seen a lap like that. Marius, I don't think even Marius would have touched that. Would have been close, but I mean.
That was a brilliant. I was hoping for a 42.9. I did it just before in the practice. Couldn't even get close to it, but he when I saw his time, I thought, damn, I wouldn't even would have. I would still be third place.
Yeah, no, it was a good qualifying from Paul, but he was a bit too uptight. I think he was focused too much, that he was just too stiff and not as loose as he was during the qualifying, and I think that's what got him out when he turned in. I think he made a mistake, and I don't know, he hit the sausage and he just went to the side. So that was a bit of a sad moment. Paul actually told me he just wanted to, switch off and, run away, go have a beer or something. But yeah, it takes a lot to finish a race after that. So I'm very proud of Paul for doing that. Congrats to Marius, and I think it's Connor, right? That came.
Connor didn't finish. Connor didn't finish. Jason finished third place, guys.
Really?
Connor ran out of fuel.
Oh, crap. Wow.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry, I'm with you. Sorry, I'm old, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was just.
To my ass. I have to do some more push-ups or something.
But yeah, it was a good race. I was hoping that Marius was a bit quicker, but I just told myself, just stay consistent. It's all you can do, and I just brought it home, and yeah, it wasn't the most exciting race up in front, but I heard there was quite a few battles in the mid pack. So I'm probably gonna
Yep.
watch the stream after this and go check it out.
It is very congested in the middle there, I promise you. You'll go and see it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much.
Also hoping for a nice battle, but I just didn't have your points.
Yeah, hopefully Bathurst brings it. Hopefully Bathurst, we can do it.
Yeah,
Next.
I'm still hoping for a good battle, man. But well done, and well done to
Thanks,
Jason.
man.
Sorry, I didn't even know. The
Yeah.
first thing I saw in my mirror was, or on the thing was Connor, you know. I didn't notice that he didn't finish.
Yep.
Damn, that's unlucky. Very unlucky. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Guys, thank you
Cool.
so
Thanks,
much.
gents.
Looking forward to
Have a
seeing the
good one.
final next week.
Cheers, Ashley.
Cheers, Boris. If you can hear me.
Yeah, you can. Right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Apologies for the late start this evening. We will make sure that our next week, Thursday race, we do get both the Alpha and the Bravo tiers streamed for your viewing pleasure. And as was mentioned, yes, Bathurst is next week, so come and join us for that season 1 finale. Really looking forward to seeing that. A lot of drivers saying that they're sad to be getting rid of the Japanese cars, but they're just looking forward to pushing the reset button and getting a new season underway. So guys, just remember that this league is proudly brought to you by CT Auto Electrical. The details on how to get hold of them are in the description below. So if you would like to find out more, give them a shout and support those that support us.
Absolutely. And guys, if you want to get involved with SARCO Racing, please go check out our website, www.sarcoracing.co.za. Sign up, become a member. We also have some merchandise there, some cool caps and some water bottle, and you can also get a face mask. You can also check us out on Facebook and YouTube.
100%. Guys, and all we say is until Thursday, be safe, keep racing, and thanks for watching. Yos.
Cheers, guys.